and they will contest the final in 2 sections. And this is not only the collegiate leader, this is the fastest runner in the world right now, Christopher Bailey, the senior from Arkansas, and he will start in that coveted lane number 6 here on the Lance Harder track.
Well, the Tennessee transfer has just absolutely exploded. Got a chance to talk to his coach, Doug Case, earlier today, and I said, what turned it on for him? What was the light bulb? And Doug said he's more of a strength guy. He has a longer fall period, doesn't do as much speed, doesn't get his athletes running as quick. They've worked on speed in the last couple of weeks, and it's really come through. But Christopher Bailey has only run 1 open 400 meters this indoor season, and it was absolutely spectacular. But he has anchored the 4x4 relay 3 different times, but he looks like a completely different athlete than he did last year at Tennessee.
So you really can't afford to float this 400, and it's even worse in the 200, which we will see later. You've got to pretty much run all out because you just don't know what's going to happen behind you.
Well, and time qualifying heats like this, and especially with so many, the athletes just have to rely on the coaches. The coaches have to tell these kids, especially in the 7th, 8th, 9th. I mean, you know what happened before you, but yeah, you're absolutely right. There's just no chance. You have to run through the line. Can't take anything for granted that you might get through.
And it's really tough navigating those inside lanes 3 and 4. They won't even use 1 and 2, but 3 and 4, you're at such a disadvantage working so hard in that first lap. They stay in their lanes for 2 full turns, then break for the pole. From the inside, Caleb Kavanaugh of Georgia, then Edward Richardson of South Carolina, followed by Wayne Lawrence Jr. of Kentucky, and then Christopher Bailey of Arkansas on the outside.
Well, good start by Wayne Lawrence Jr., and these guys all just want to get to that pole position. We talk about it and how important it is, but let's talk about the importance of understanding this track and knowing when to turn in, and Christopher Bailey just executed that cut-in to perfection.
Everybody got to that turn without breaking stride, but Bailey trains on this track every day, knows every inch of it, and that is a gigantic advantage as he is bringing it home early in heat number 1, and this will become the time to beat. 45.30 up to 45.32 now, the corrected official time. So we will keep track of what the times are. You want to be in the top 8 times, and really you want to be in the top 4 times, otherwise you get a lousy lane draw.
Ho-hum, 45.32. Look at Christopher Bailey, just how easy he looks on the outside, and he's not in a rush to get into the first lane. He made the cut in all the way from out in lane 6, but he didn't get into lane 1 until he hit that finish line. But look how comfortable he is, and he really set the standard here. And when you look at this track, where is the sweet spot? Right on the outside of lane 1, on the inside of lane 2. These athletes are running fast around these turns in the 400 meters. That's exactly where they want to be.
So Bailey making it look easy. He has the fastest time in the world this year, and he just dropped to 45.32, making it look easy. Wayne Lawrence Jr. at 46.10. That will likely get through on time, but we've got 9 more heats.
As well, 7.87 in the 60-meter hurdles, and on the outside in lane 6, the preferred lane on this track. There's Jacory Patterson. A couple years ago, he transferred from Virginia Tech and has been what we call an earner at the University of Florida. Guy you can use on the 4x1, 4x4, and he has not run many 400s this season. He likes to work on his speed. Coach Holloway told me ran in a number of 60s this indoor season and some 200s. This is his first 400 meters of the indoor season.
It's part of that collegiate record. Florida 4x4 ran 258.53 last April. So he'll be on the outside. The only disadvantage to being on the outside for Jacory Patterson, you have no one to key off of. You have no idea how far behind your competitors are. And when you want that pole, you want to put out as little energy as you can to get it. Heat number 2 of 10. From the inside, Jaquan Haley of Tennessee, then Eric Hemphill of A&M, then Robinson of Alabama, and Patterson of Florida.
And nice aggressive running that first 100 meters by Jacory Patterson. And sometimes it's good to be on the outside there, Dwight, because you run a little bit scared, you get your adrenaline up, and you know people are coming after you.
Robinson working hard to try to get that pole, and Patterson still giving him a little bit of hope on the inside, but he takes it cleanly, no break of stride. So now can Patterson hold the rest of the field off and run a time that'll get him into tomorrow's final.
Well, Jacory looks good, seeing that this is his first 400 of the season. He's run some fast 300s and certainly a lot of 2s, but nice job in the last 50 meters powering away.
Patterson with a flash time of 45.53, corrected to 45.55. Anything under 46 seconds, even in this conference, you're probably going to get through. Robinson's second at 45.89. That's a lifetime pest for him.
Well, here you see them come around. We call it turn 2, but they get to the cones, and then it is a mad sprint to that start-finish line, and whoever gets there first is in that pole position. Jacory Patterson really slams the door on Chris Robinson there. Robinson thinks he might be able to hold him off. Got to be a little bit careful, though, when moving in to lane 1. A little bit of arm touching, but nothing too drastic. But there you see Corey bring it all the way home, and with champion Allison no longer there, Dwight, you know, this Florida team, somebody's got to step up. You know, is it gonna be Ryan Willie? Is it gonna be Jacory Patterson?
Patterson just ran the 3rd fastest collegiate time this season with that 45.55. It's conference weekend. It's time to start running fast. He wins the heat easily, 45.55. Robinson with a huge personal best that should get him into the final.
Without the hurdles, but he always steps up when it counts. A fierce competitor.
45.57 personal best. Were he to run close to that, he would advance. There are the lane assignments. Lane 5, not a bad lane on this track. For some years, considered the preferred lane on the track. I have a feeling that's a little bit subjective. It looks like Jacob Miley of Florida has decided not to start, so only 2 competitors in this 3rd heat. Burrell in 4. Oh, and now I see him. There's an open lane. My mistake. Lane 3, 4, and 6. Burrell, they should have moved him out to 5 and 3 out to 4. Lane 4 is a little bit tight, but Burrell is not that tall, so it's not as big a problem for him. Jacob Miley of Florida out there in lane 6 all by himself.
And when you talk to Coach Mike Holloway, he just kind of rolls his eyes like, you know, he thinks, you know, tall indoors. He said tall guys always just get in there, struggle, do the best they can, and they wait for outdoors.
Burrell gets the pole. Nobody breaks stride. And now it's Miley versus Burrell. Zamzo of Texas A&M hanging in there as well in 3rd. Look at Miley trying to pass on the outside, just running extra distance. Burrell not with the turnover, and for a strength athlete like him, it's like you said, Dan, he comes on late in the season. And right at the tape, it looks like Burrell got the win, but again, it's just the time that we're looking for. 47.05 and 47.08. Those are times that are unlikely to advance.
Well, it was a really competitive race and very entertaining, but you're absolutely right, Dwight. You know, Sean Burrell, he has run 45.57, but that was over 2 seasons ago. But he uses this indoor season to prepare for the outdoor season. And here we get a chance to see out of turn 1 into turn 2, Jacob Miley, 6'6" on the outside there. Makes a hard rush to the inside, but he runs this entire second lap out there in lane 2, Dwight, and you know how difficult that is, and he tries to pass in the wrong spot. Passing on the turn, running the entire, he just ran longer distance, used more energy, and Sean Puffy Squirrel on the inside just trying to hold him off.
Well, it doesn't matter what speed you run this race at, it hurts. You run fast, it hurts. You run slow, it hurts. They ran slow. You can see it hurts. 47.05 for Burrell, 47.08 for Miley. Those are times that will not advance to tomorrow's final. As we get ready now for heat number 4, 3 competitors, and they moved him to 4, 5, and 6. And we're looking at DeMarco Escobar, the freshman from Texas A&M, who will start in lane 5.
Well, his first SEC championships. Shown a lot of improvement this season. Almost a full second of improvement. Ran 47.5 indoors last year, just a freshman out of Judson High School in Converse, Texas. Let's see how the youngster does in his first big SEC championship.
He'll have the advantage of having someone to key off of outside of him. That's Duval Simmons, the junior from Mississippi State. It's run 47 flat, but it'll give Escobar a little something to look at. Looking for the top 8 times out of the 10 heats that will be run. It's a 2-section final tomorrow. The winner and the point scorers will be based on time. It does not matter which heat you run in. From the inside, Clayton Elder of Alabama in 4, then Escobar in 5, Duval Simmons of Mississippi State in 6.
Well, coming out of blocks on this track, bank like that takes a lot of getting used to. We saw a number of people in the warm-up sessions yesterday and the day before. Everybody who's running the 200 to the 400 meters made sure that they get some time cover the first 100 meters of this track. Very tricky.
And the freshman almost gave up the pole to Simmons, but he gets it anyway. Nobody breaking stride. Now is where the work really comes in. I'm looking for the turnover. I'm really just not seeing it out of Escobar or Simmons. Lifting into the final straight away. Seen a couple of sub 46 times and then another slow one, 47.29. That was painful. 47.30 it's corrected to. Escobar's run 46.45. So that will not advance.
Well, and that was tough. He did all the work himself. Pushed the pace at the beginning, got the pole, and then continued to push. But you could see he was really tying up in that last 100. Here we get a look at the freshman up front and the junior from Mississippi State, Duval Simmons. Looks like Duval Simmons had some energy with about 100 meters to go, but he was not able to hold his momentum and pass on the outside. But the freshman tightens up just a little bit as he comes to the line. And best advice I ever got was from John Smith at UCLA. He said, you want to run faster than the 400? Try less.
Yeah, that is good advice. Can't contract a contracted muscle. And you can't run fast with muscles that shouldn't be contracted in the first place. All right, we're just about to get to the halfway point on these 400-meter heats. Heat number 5 now coming up. And it is Clement Ducos, the freshman from Tennessee, who will start out in lane number 5.
Well, Clement Ducos has only run 48.50 this season, and he'll have some fast guys on his outside. Elijah Godwin of Georgia will be just to his outside, the world champion team member, gold medalist. Olympic team, part of that world championship team in Eugene, Oregon last year. And then on the Tokyo Olympics, bronze medalist, member of the 4x4 team. And then inside of Ducos is Emmanuel Bamadel, the transfer from Texas A&M, now running for Florida.
That Olympic bronze medal for Godwin was in the mixed relay, the first time it's ever been held at the Olympic Games. It's been something I've been screaming for 20 years. Finally did it, and he wins a bronze medal in that event in Tokyo. So Godwin will go out fast in lane 6. Let's see how much knee drive he has this year. You remember him last year at this meet? He was not in shape. From the inside, it is Ashford of Missouri, Mabadele of Florida, then Ducos of Tennessee, and Godwin of Georgia.
Well, Godwin has run some of the fastest times in the country this season, and he doesn't look like his style has changed much, but he continues to grind this indoor season. A little bit of a step on the inside as he takes the pole position.
No problem taking that pole. Everybody gets through cleanly. Bamatelli giving chase. They're in second position, but it's all Godwin now. And you know he's really hurting when those knees just don't come up at all. He doesn't have much knee dive as it is, but when he starts going backwards and the knees just don't come up, he looks better than he did at this time last year, though. Elijah Godwin, a very fine performance. And he gets a personal best by 100th of a second. So Elijah Godwin, the senior from Georgia for Carroll Smith Gilbert, he's in shape this time.
Well, we've seen him learn some really tough lessons in the past, certainly, and last season when he didn't get through the finals, Coach Carroll said it's all about effort. It's all about just understanding that you've got to give more effort out there. And, we could critique his technique, but there are no style points, certainly. But Elijah Godwin, a little bit of a scooter. I'd love to see him get his knees up. But, it's all about flexibility and hip impingement, certainly. And, he'll get better at that. But he is such a tough competitor. And he's one of these guys as well that just gets better and better as the season goes on. And so if he's running 45.3 now, in 2 months, 3 months down the road, he is going to be running extremely fast.
So a lifetime best for Elijah Godwin, winning that 5th heat.
First team All-American as a member of the 4x400 meter relay last season. But last year, he was a runner-up in the 400 meters at the USATF Under 20 Championships, and there on the inside in lane 4, you see Ahmad Robinson, exciting young talent. He ran to a 2nd place finish behind Elijah Godwin just 2 weeks ago at the Tiger Paw Invitational.
The sophomore had a 43-44 split as an anchor on the Stephen F. Austin 4x4 relay team. That is a wow. There are the lane assignments. Robinson in 4, which is kind of a lousy lane draw for him. A little tight. Sportsman with a better draw out in 6. Both Aggies hoping to run fast enough to get through. Right now, it's still looking like you got to run low 46s if you want a chance to run tomorrow in the final. 2 Gators, 2 Aggies. From the inside, Miles Green of Florida, the senior. Ahmad Robinson in 4 of A&M. Javon Powell, the junior from Florida, is in 5. And then Ashton Sportsman, the sophomore from A&M, out in 6 as Powell is making a play for that pole position.
Well, I looked up and just briefly I thought Jacory Patterson is out there running another race, but the style is so similar. And that's what I love. When you train with guys, your running style, you can really become similar in your running styles. Let's see if Ashton Schwartzman has an answer down the back straight.
We seem to have lost a couple of runners there. There's only 2 competing. It is Powell and Schwartzman. Robinson and Green gave up the ghost. And here is Powell coming across in 46.21. Now corrected to 46.23 as we see there was an injury there to Miles Green, the senior from Florida, who started out in lane 4. Schwartzman comes through with a 46.63. That 46.23 could end up being very close to a bubble time as we get closer to the 10th heat. But right now it's number 6 or 7. I did not see what happened to either of these athletes. But it was Powell, the junior from Florida, winning that 6th heat. 4 heats to go.
Well, a huge personal best for him, almost by a full second. That's what Mike Holloway loves his athletes to do, is come to the big meet, step up with a big performance. This is what you've been training for. You see,
there's Mouse.
Coach Holloway with a hug afterwards, and even after a great run, more explanation. And love to see, you'd say it hurts when you don't run as fast. Well, he's got great strength. He's a guy who can go up to 600 meters, 800 meters as well. Run 45.96. And he's going to need to put one of his best runs of the year on the track there. And there you see William Spencer Jr., another tall guy. He's lucky he got the outside lane, but a contender outdoors in the 400-meter hurdles.
Semi-finalist at the NCAA Outdoor Championships last year, so he has championship experience at the national level. Here are the lane assignments, with McRae of Alabama in 5 and Spencer Jr. of South Carolina in the preferred outside lane 6. .46.63, the bubble time. From the inside, Christopher Morales-Williams of Georgia, the freshman. Ryan Willie of Florida in 4. Beck O'Daniel of Kentucky in 5. And Ashton Hicks on the outside. I'm in the wrong heat. Oh, my goodness. There is Caleb McRae of Alabama. Looks like he's going for the pole over William Spencer Jr. Omajua Etue is in Texas A&M, was in 3, and Brandon Yandoro of Kentucky, the freshman, was also in this race. But it is a runaway by McRae of Alabama with a 45.96 at altitude best time. Let's see how close he can come to matching that. McRae digging deep. 46.30, corrected to 3.1. So he really struggled that last 100 meters. And William Spencer Jr. at 47.40, well over the bubble time.
Well, and you can see the concern on his face. He knows he might not, probably didn't do enough to get in, but really nifty running by Caleb McRae. He takes that arm sleeve off before he makes a break, and that is enough for a guy to step down and get disqualified, but he did it with ease, and then he went on to win the heat. He tried to power away, literally ran the entire race by himself, and these are really tough time trials when you get out in front like that, and he knows it probably wasn't enough.
He becomes the bubble time with that 46.31 with 3 heats remaining. So McRae not happy. He had run sub 46 before earlier in the season. And it looks like he'll be watching this from the stands tomorrow.
Indoor season, but asking Coach Holloway, it's like, well, how's Ryan doing? He said Ryan will do what he always does, and that's step up in the championship. And Ryan Willie has been in every major championship final for the last couple of years. We're talking NCAA indoors, NCAA outdoors, U.S. championships, Olympic trials, finals, so much experience at those championship meets.
He draws that lane 4, though, which is a little bit difficult. And on the outside, the senior from LSU, that is Ashton Hicks.
Well, Oklahoma State transfer, having his best indoor season ever. But he's going to need a huge personal best today to get into the finals.
Now this time from the inside, it's Christopher Morales-Williams of Georgia, the freshman. Ryan Willie in 4, which is tough. Beck O'Daniel of Kentucky in 5, then Ashton Hicks on the outside in 6, and Willie is going for it.
Well, that's a great example of just really being aggressive in that first 100 meters, and Ryan Willie just put his head down and said, man, I'm going to go. Now watch him just relax this last 200. Got great tempo. Coach always says in the 400 meters, you got great tempo, don't slow it down, no reason to. Find it and hold it.
Ashton Hicks giving chase, but Ryan Willie had an awful lot of momentum. He took advantage of his smaller stature. It was a little easier in lane 4, but he would have loved to have been on one of the outside lanes, and he's digging down now to try to get one for tomorrow. And he goes sub 46. 45.61 for the Florida junior. And that's our number 6 time, I should say, under 46 with 2 heats remaining.
Oh, that Coach Holloway thinks he's so smart. He knows Ryan Willie gets here when the lights are on, and he's at the championships. He's going to step up. This is just textbook 400-meter running. Look at Ryan Willie. He's just head tilted to the inside, knows where the turn is, really pushed it in that first 200 meters, and then he finds a sweet spot on this track and then just holds it. And there's no strategy in the 400 meters, Dwight. You don't get out hard and then relax on the back straight and then speed up. You pick a speed and you absolutely hold it, but that is by far Ryan Willie's best run of the season.
So the bubble time drops down to 46.23. Ryan Willie, the 6th runner to break 46 today. Ashton Hicks at 47.14 will not advance. Right now, it looks like looking like Florida may advance half the field to the final. They have 4 runners who have run fast enough who should get through, including that man right there, Ryan Willie. 2 heats remaining. Heat number 9 features James Benson II of Arkansas, the senior, and boy, did he get a tough lane draw down in lane 4.
Well, he ran second leg on the Arkansas Razorback team earlier this season that went 3:01:09. A fantastic time, but he's a 2070 200 meter guy. But all these Arkansas runners have really stepped up their game in the 400 meters this season, and Christopher Bailey certainly leads them all. It'll be exciting to see where James Benson ends up here today. This is Lee Epi in lane 5 from Mississippi State, Arapa, Botswana, transfer from Iowa Central Community College.
Benson has run 45.88 down in lane 4. He has drawn, and then the guy who runs 47.74 ends up in the preferred lane 6, and that's what happens with lane draws in the first round or in the heats of these things. There are the lane assignments. Benson's got a bit of a hamstring wrap there on his left leg, and that left leg's going to take a little bit more stress down in lane 4. From the inside, it is Benson Jr. of Arkansas in 4, Epi of Mississippi State in 5, and Griffith, the junior from Tennessee and Barbados, out in lane 6.
Well, Lee Epi really went out fast in that first 50 meters. But you see, James Benson grimacing as he makes a break there. And usually when somebody has a leg wrap, it doesn't look good. But James Benson is really fighting through this.
Epi got tripped up in that transition into the third turn, and Benson does look like he's suffering. He's really grimaced hard on that face. Wonder if he's doing any more damage to that hamstring. But he's digging down deep. I just don't see the turnover there that's going to get him to the final, but I could be wrong. 46 as he falls beyond the finish line, and we already know from the bubble time that that's not going to make it, but he made a good run at it considering he's clearly not 100% healthy.
Well, it's usually when somebody has a leg wrap like that, it doesn't look good, but sometimes it's just precautionary. If somebody's coming off an injury and they use the leg wrap, they just like to have it on there, keeps the leg warm, but he's certainly not happy about that time. He ran that race, and again, it was just another time trial. You're out there all by yourself, but just disgusted with himself. Well, and legs can get tangled up here. Wow, oi! And there's spikes on the front. We saw Lee Epi there. He was on his heels and he actually slid. But that is a place that I'm surprised we don't see more people bumping and tangling. As you see James Benson go down. It looks like he could have twisted his ankle as well.
So there are the results. Benson with the 46.46, which will not advance. And we will definitely not have 8 competitors under 46. Graduated a lot of good 400-meter runners. And we have 1 heat remaining in the men's 400-meter qualifying with 6 runners under 46 seconds so far. Emmanuel Bynum, the junior from Tennessee, he will start in lane number 4, which is going to be tough because he's a tall 400-meter runner.
Well, he's one of the few athletes in Tennessee that stuck around after the coaching change. But he's had an interesting journey to Tennessee as well. Started out in the Big East, he ran for Villanova. Then he went to Florida, now he's at Tennessee. But he was 6th in the 200 meters at this SEC championships last year. And there's Anthony Brody on the inside, indoor All-American last year. Another fairly tall guy on the inside representing the Bronx, New York.
He has a lifetime best that is not fast enough to advance to the final, and he's starting in lane 3. That's a couple of strikes against him. So Bynum in 4 with a lifetime best of 45.67. So if he can manage to navigate these first 2 turns without expending too much energy or getting tangled up, he's got a shot. Bubble is 46-23. There are the lane assignments. So from the inside, it's Anthony Brody of Mississippi State, followed by Emmanuel Bynum of Tennessee in 4, Aaron Smith of LSU in 5, and Samaje Daniels of Mississippi State on the outside. Bynum looking smooth through this first 3/4 of a lap, gets the pole easily. Now he's running by himself against the clock. Lifetime best 45.67. Brody is giving chase. Bynum needs to turn him over. Long legs, but you got to turn him over on the indoor 400. 46.23 is the bubble. Oh, and he doesn't make it. He will not advance. I'm sure that is the slowest 8th place time in the 400 meters indoors in this conference since I've been covering it in 2010.
Well, from the gun, he ran with so much determination, and you could see he just decided, I got to take the lead, I got to get out front, I got to really push this, and it is just like a time trial when your personal bests are so much better than everybody else in the fields, and he did a great job. Really smooth around that first and second turn, and with a lap to go, everything looked good, but about 100 meters left in the race, there just wasn't enough energy. There just wasn't enough turnover, Dwight, and you called it just a little bit long. But, man, he pushed and gave it absolutely everything he had.
There are the official results, and with the bubble time at 46.23 by Javon Powell of Florida, Florida will have half the field in tomorrow's 400-meter final. That's a huge amount of points that can potentially be scored by the Gators in the quarter. There are the advancers. You see a lot of Gators there over on the left, and nobody else has more than